is a battle, but not the kind fought out there in the world. The real war happens inside the mind, where belief meets resistance, where intention meets habit. That's where the line is drawn. Most people think failure comes from lack of opportunity, lack of money, lack of connections, but it rarely does. Failure begins quietly, in small thoughts, in the whisper that says, maybe tomorrow. It begins when the same mind that dreams of success begins to build excuses for delay. The same imagination that can design a better future can also build a prison of limitation. That's the hidden war within. Every day the mind runs both programs, the builder and the saboteur. The voice that says, I can, and the one that says, what's the use? And here's the truth. Progress must be defended daily, because if you don't guard it, the enemies move in. You've met them before. They live in routine, in thought, in small choices. They never knock loudly. They slip in quietly, dressed as reason, comfort, or caution. And once they take root, they do their work slowly, invisibly, until one day you wake up and realize that a month, a year, maybe 5 years have passed, and the dream is still sitting where it started. Progress isn't stolen, it's surrendered, bit by bit, through distraction, through neglect, through one more excuse. You don't lose progress overnight. You drift away from it. That's why awareness is the first weapon. You must see the battle for what it is. It's not luck versus misfortune or rich versus poor. It's discipline versus drift. Every day is a vote for one side or the other. When a person says, I don't know what's holding me back, the answer is almost always invisible. It's not the market. It's not the boss. It's not the government. It's the pattern. The way the mind has been trained to retreat instead of rise, to comfort instead of confront. And here's the key. Nothing outside can fix what's inside until the inside changes first. The external always follows the internal. A person doesn't achieve progress by accident any more than a garden grows by neglect. It's designed, cultivated, protected. So the question becomes, who is winning the war inside? The disciplined mind or the drifting one? The builder or the saboteur? Progress begins when that question is answered honestly. Not when the world changes, not when the timing feels right, but when you decide that internal resistance will no longer have the final vote. That's the moment the hidden war shifts. And from there, everything, career, wealth, health, relationships, starts to align. Because progress is not an event. It's a defense strategy against decline. Every day you fight for it, you grow stronger. Every day you ignore it, you lose ground. So if you've wondered why progress comes and goes, now you know. It's not because life got harder. It's because the enemies got smarter. And the first step to winning is to see them clearly. The first enemy of success, excuses. The most elegant destroyer of progress ever invented. They don't shout, they reason. They make failure sound intelligent. Every person who has ever fallen short has had a story to tell. A perfectly reasonable story. Too cold, too late, too busy, too early, too much competition, too little support. But here's what excuses do. They give comfort to inaction. They let you rest on the pillow of justification instead of the bedrock of responsibility. Excuses are the language of retreat. They make you feel smart while they rob your future. And they wear many disguises. Sometimes they sound like logic. It's not the right time. Sometimes they sound like humility. I'm not ready yet. And sometimes they sound like fairness. Others have more advantages. But the result is always the same. Nothing moves. Progress begins where excuses end. The day a person stops explaining and starts executing, life begins to shift. Because excuses and progress cannot live in the same house. One drives the other out. Ask anyone who has achieved something remarkable. They didn't avoid hardship. They ran out of excuses. They replaced "I can't" with "how can I?" That one change in language reshapes the mind. It turns limitation into problem solving. It forces creativity to step in where fear used to sit. An excuse says, "It's beyond me." A question says, "What can I do?" One shuts the door, the other opens it. The problem with excuses is they build comfort faster than success ever could. They let you settle for a story that makes sense instead of a result that makes change. And once you believe your own excuses, progress stops completely, because now the enemy has moved inside and taken your voice. I once met a man who said he wanted to be successful but couldn't because his circumstances were too hard. Then I met another who came from the same background, faced the same obstacles, and said he couldn't afford not to try. Same conditions, different conclusions. One had excuses, the other had reasons to act. You see, life doesn't listen to explanations. It responds to effort. The marketplace doesn't pay for intentions. It rewards execution. The body doesn't get fit because you mean to exercise. It changes because you do. So the cure for excuses isn't inspiration. It's accountability. The moment you start holding yourself to results instead of reasoning, progress reappears. Because excuses thrive in the dark. They can't survive in the light of responsibility. If you found yourself repeating the same story about why things haven't moved, stop and listen carefully. Each repetition makes the excuse stronger. Break the pattern. Change the question. Instead of saying, "I can't because," start saying, "How can I despite?" That shift alone separates those who move from those who wait. Remember this truth. Comfort will always try to disguise itself as logic. But logic without motion is paralysis. You can't rationalize your way to success. You can only act your way there. Excuses give you a reason to stand still. Progress demands a reason to move. So if progress is the goal, silence the stories. Let results do the talking. Okay, now the success enemy of success is neglect. The slowest, quietest destroyer of all. You never notice it working until the damage is done. One missed day doesn't seem like much. One ignored task feels harmless. But neglect compounds faster than effort ever could. Success has a rhythm, and neglect breaks it. It takes discipline to start, but even more discipline to maintain. Most people lose not because they can't begin, but because they can't continue. They let a small gap turn into a canyon. Neglect always begins in the smallest corner. The garden that was once green starts to brown because the watering can stayed on the porch one extra morning. The car that ran smooth begins to sputter because the oil change was delayed. The relationship that was once strong starts to fade because the words "thank you" and "I appreciate you" went unsaid for too long. It's a law of life. Everything unattended deteriorates. Health, wealth, relationships, mindset. None of them maintain themselves. The price of progress is upkeep. The rent for success is due every day, and it cannot be paid in advance. The tragedy is that neglect feels harmless at first. You tell yourself it's only one missed workout, one skipped meeting, one postponed call. But neglect doesn't add, it multiplies. One day becomes two. Two becomes a week becomes a habit. And a habit of neglect always ends in regret. People often say, I just need to catch up. But catching up is twice as hard as keeping up. It's easier to maintain momentum than to rebuild it. The moment you stop tending to what matters, decline starts. Slowly at first, then suddenly. Progress is a fragile thing. It must be fed, protected, and measured. The moment it's taken for granted, it begins to slip. Even small victories need maintenance, because what isn't strengthened is eventually lost. I once watched a man build a successful business through pure consistency. Small steps, every day. Then he grew comfortable, stopped checking the details, trusted that momentum would carry him. Within 2 years, what took him 10 to build had begun to crumble. Not from failure, but from neglect. That's the danger. Neglect doesn't make noise. It doesn't announce itself. It hides under good intentions. It whispers, you've earned a break. And of course you have, but progress doesn't rest just because you do. So the defense is awareness, the discipline of checking, maintaining, reviewing. Don't let small cracks become big breaks. If the goal is worth having, it's worth guarding. When you see something slipping, your energy, your focus, your results, don't excuse it. Fix it fast. A stitch in time doesn't just save 9. It saves momentum, confidence, and time itself. Think of progress as a flame. You don't need to rebuild the fire every day, but you must feed it. Miss a day and the embers cool. Miss a few more and the flame dies. That's the law of maintenance. And once you understand it, you never let neglect steal from you again. Progress isn't about how much you can do. It's about how long you can keep doing what matters. The small, steady disciplines that prevent decline are the true secret to growth. The third enemy of success, doubt. Doubt is the quiet thief of destiny. It doesn't stop you with force. It stops you with hesitation. It whispers just enough uncertainty to delay your action. And delay, over time, destroys progress. Everyone begins with a measure of belief. Then comes the moment of testing, the gap between effort and evidence. That's where doubt loves to live. When the results take longer than expected, when the applause fades, when the payoff seems distant, that's when doubt begins its work. It says, maybe it won't work for you. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe this dream was too big. And if you listen long enough, belief starts to shrink. Action slows. Confidence cracks. Soon, the dream you once pursued with energy is wrapped in hesitation. Not because you lost ability, but because you lost belief. Doubt is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something important is at stake. Every great endeavor brings resistance, but progress belongs to those who act while uncertain. Those who move even when they can't yet prove. Faith is not arrogance, it's preparation. It's the decision to keep building when the evidence hasn't yet caught up. A farmer plants seeds without seeing the harvest. That's faith. A builder lays foundations long before the house stands. That's faith. Progress is no different. People often say, I'll believe it when I see it. But that's the language of spectators. Builders say, I'll see it because I believe it. The belief comes first, the proof follows. The mind must travel ahead of the body, or the body will never move. Doubt poisons potential. It takes opportunity and turns it into analysis. It replaces movement with mental spinning. And while you're thinking about what could go wrong, someone else is testing what could go right. The cure for doubt isn't perfect knowledge. It's disciplined action. Do what you can with what you know, and let results become your teacher. The act of doing weakens the grip of doubt, because every small win adds proof that belief was not misplaced. When a person gives in to doubt, progress stops, not because the dream was impossible, but because the